To break a world record is a massive commitment, right? It takes a lot of time and a lot of consistency, a lot of discipline. But I would imagine from an outsider's point looking in that it's quite lonely.
Yeah, and there's things that you have to sacrifice that in retrospect are going to be hard for anyone else to understand. So for example, to give you context, I've got quite a tall father. Okay, he's quite tall. So naturally you would imagine I'm going to be quite tall as well. But had to accept that if I'm going to load my spine every single day with as much weight as physically possible, I'm going to compress it, I'm going to be quite a short person. I knew I was compromising my height. Then I'm going to deadlift every single day, knowing full well that it's probably going to put me in a wheelchair, break my back completely and, see me paralyzed, or just give me pain that lasts a lifetime. Ultimately, I stand to lose again. Or I'm going to bench press and potentially drop the bar on my neck and die. Regardless, whatever session it is, there's risks that are in real, tangible risk that you can see the consequence of. And I have to accept that I'm putting all of that on the line to stand there and gain essentially nothing, because nobody pays for powerlifters. There's no money in that sport, and nobody actually cares. When you're involved in that industry, you think people care. I used to judge people based on their total. It's like, hi, I'm Liam, I squat 325 kilos. And it's like, oh, you're Ben and you squat 100, whatever it is. That's how you determine someone's success. When you're in that community, what's your total? Total is life. But actually now it steps out of it, no one cares. It's so irrelevant what you bench press. What a useless metric of life. It's literally pointless. But all of it, that was all that mattered. And so for me now in this position, I recognized that I gave so much to a sport that gave me actually very little back positively, and it created a lot of problems for me, and it caused me to miss out on a lot of things as well. But there are lessons in everything, and I think the things that I learned about the cold, dark nights of powerlifting, being in a gym by yourself, having to put an extra couple of kilos on a bar that could kill you with nobody there to save you, eating food that nobody watches, putting all the details of a good night's sleep together and making sure that you nail that 7 days out of 7. That's challenging and it's lonely and no one's there to watch. I think when there's a team sport like football, the ego's involved, it's a little more emotional, it's a little more fun, you're doing it as a team, you get to be accountable to everybody else. Well, I was only accountable to myself, which kind of makes it even harder.
You spoke about risk and sacrifice from when you were powerlifting. How important are those into building a business that is doing millions per month?
Well, most decisions that see businesses grow exponentially are decisions that could also cost the business a lot of the previous progress, or things that cost you a lot of personal sacrifice. Ultimately, the two things you mentioned, risk and sacrifice, if we reverse engineer any big business that leads by example today, there'll be many examples of those two traits playing a pivotal role in the growth and development of that entity today. And I think those that don't take on the risk, or those that don't sacrifice things in their personal life, are often the owners of the business that doesn't perform any better than your 9-to-5s. So I think the proof is in the pudding in society.